Today we're going to be doing some spooky evals, and we're going to be doing that with this little script I wrote. And what the script does, just to show you, it takes photos of me pretending to be a monster, and then it turns them into images of me as that monster. So how does it do that? Well, it's just a little script written with the agent framework from OpenAI, and they just released a new thing that now you can pass images in and out of tools. So I'm using their image generation tool. And here we have our first prompt, and that takes the image, that's the source image in, and it tells the agent to take a look at it and decide what kind of monster I'm pretending to be. And then we get the guessed monster. And in that case, it was werewolf. And then we go to our second prompt, which also passes in the image, but this time, instead of analyzing it, it tells the image model to use that image, but replace the person with the monster that the first request guessed. So we can go to command line, and we can go ahead and run it like this. And while that runs, I kind of want to talk about why I think this is a cool example. And that is because in this eval that we're going to be doing, the data set has images. The task takes those images. He uses image analysis and also generates a new image from them. And then it passes that new image to the scorer, which is also going to analyze it. And what the scorer is going to do, we'll write it together in a second. But what the scorer is going to do is it's going to take this image that is passed to it from the task, and then it's going to take an expected value from the data set for the original image, and it's going to look at the generated image and see if it contains what we expect it contains, which is going to be the monster name that corresponds with the picture that we're passing it. So let's see how our run is doing. Looks like it completed, and we can go back here and we can see the results. So in here, this is the first request I was talking about. So we're passing in this image, and the guess is Frankenstein's monster. So not quite right. And then here we have the output, and yeah, that's monstery. So we're getting a little preview of this eval now, where sometimes it guesses right and sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see how it does on these. But back to what we need to do. We have our task in code, and we'll work on that a bit later. But for now, in the UI, we can make the data set and the score. So let's start with the data set. We're going to make a new one. I'm just going to call this one photos. We'll go ahead and save that. And then I'm just going to add 4 rows to it. 2, 3, 4. And now I'm just going to start uploading images to the input fields, since that's what is going to be passed to our little agent that we have. So here's the first one. And then for expected, we're going to put Frankenstein. So then we'll do the next one. And if you're doing this for real and not for a YouTube video, the easier way to do that is to sorry, got distracted typing. The easier way to do that is going to be using the SDK on like a directory of images you have. But for the purposes of this video, it's easier for me to just do it like this. A vampire. And what was the last one? All right, werewolf. Okay, let's see. Werewolf. And I just got to put that. I don't actually know how to spell werewolf. Okay, so there we go. These are actually all uploaded to S3, and then I'll show you how we get them out later. So now we have the data set, and we need a scorer. Okay, so we're going to put in a new score, and I think we're going to call this one image judge. And we'll use GPT-5. And this needs to be a user message. And we are going to say, please take a look at this image. It has a monster in it. Decide what the monster is. Then compare your choice to, and we're going to say expected. And so we're using mustache templating here, and expected is going to be coming out of the data set. That's the text boxes we just filled in next to the images. And then we need that for the eval. And then we also need the actual file that was generated by the agent. And so that's going to be output. So in this message part, that's a file. I'm just going to put output. There we go. And finally, we need some choices. So we're going to say perfect match is 1. It's close is 0.5. And does not match is going to be 0. And I'll just put and beside how close they are. Okay, so we have expected, we have output, and we have the various choices that the LLM as a judge can pick. Let's go ahead and save this one. Okay, there's that. Now let's go back to the code, and we're going to decide how to eval this. And I've already set some stuff up. So here's my eval, and this is coming from the Braintrust SDK. So we're importing eval, we're importing init dataset, which is what lets us pull the dataset in, and init function, which is what lets us put the score in. And then run Monsterizer is kind of the core thing that does the LLM requests, the core function. So here we have our eval, and if we go back to the project, Monsterizer is also the name of the project, which is how this knows where to put it. And so we have to init dataset, and then we need the dataset name. So let's go back to the UI. I'll go to the dataset. The name is photos. So I'm going to come back here and fill that in. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull in this dataset. And it's going to make inputs available to my task. So the eval is data, task, and scores. So in the task, I am pulling the attachment out of the input, and I'm calling this process attachment function. And basically what that's doing is it's converting the data and the attachment into a base 64 string, which is what Ron Monsterizer takes. And then some debug logging, and then we're going to do return the result, which is going to be another base 64 encoded image. And we're going to add this like prefix to it so that when we upload it to Braintrust, it knows that we're uploading an image, and it can save it to S3 instead of saving a whole bunch of text in the span, which is not going to be fun for us to look at. And so once we return this image, we can add the score. And so here we init function, that's the project name. And now we need the slug for the score. So let's go back here. We'll go to the score, and we'll get the slug out of this field. Okay, and now we're done. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And now instead of node-index.js, we're going to call node-eval.js. And that's going to run the evals. So you can see here, we're getting some debug logging. The first step for recognizing the monsters pretty quick. So we got ghost, Dracula, zombie, and werewolf. The second step takes a little bit longer. So I will stop this here, and I'll come back when it's done. Okay, and we're back. So let's see how this turned out. I actually ran this twice because the first time, OpenAI did not like my prompt, and my vampire transformation thing got flagged for violence and self-harm. And so that's unfortunate in this case, but it's also good to know when you're running into these kind of guards. But let's take a look at this one that succeeded. And we can take a look at this one, which generated me as a zombie. And this one's actually kind of mediocre. And so this is the task. And down here, we have the LLM as a judge. So we can see what the LLM as a judge said in select choice. Classic pop-up culture zombie pose. Zombie compared to Frankenstein. Both are reanimated corpses. So it said it's close. Now let's look at these other ones. This one, clearly a werewolf. Somewhat childlike. This one, clearly a vampire. Somewhat deformed. And finally, here is me as a ghost. I like this one the most. And that's all I have. Thanks for watching.